Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. Would like to present to you, actually, I have three articles. If I have time later this evening, I'll give you the bonus fourth one, which is about Nintendo World Championships. But anyway, if I have some time, we'll do that. If not, I can do it for tomorrow. Um, yes, I'd like to present to you these three interesting articles that I have. And before I do it, would like to let you know this is for review, informational, and educational purposes. It's not to take the credit for the intellectual property of the article. The full credit of the intellectual property of the article goes to the publisher, which in this case is The Independent, and the story by Andrew Griffin. Headline reads, New solar technology could dramatically change how we harvest light from the sun, scientists say. And here we have a picture of the person looking, and looks like the end, like the sun is setting there. And Getty Images 5531950.jpg, copyright Getty Images. Now to the article itself. A new solar technology could help us dramatically change how we harvest light from the sun, the scientists behind it say. Solar cells are expected to be one of the major ways that we move towards harvesting energy sustainably and through a variety of new ways. But they are limited by the range of factors, one of the most fundamental of which is the fact that light has to be right color to be absorbed by the solar cell, as well as the way that we need to be relatively thick to absorb enough light energy. Scientists hope that one day it will be possible to make a solar cell that is panchromatic, or able to absorb the full spectrum of visible light. It may also be possible to make them thinner and therefore less bulky and heavy, which definitely would be. It would save on the shipping costs, and it would just be better all around, as long as it's not flimsy and it does what it's supposed to do. Scientists often point to the way that light-collecting antennae of plants and bacteria work as a model for possible solutions to these problems. But those comparisons are also a warning. They require lots of different dyes to be able to gather the energy of the absorbed light and focus it. Now researchers say that they have come up with a new kind of light harvesting system that is markedly different from previous examples, and could help overcome those problems. It has a structure similar to semiconductors, which allows it to absorb light across the entire visible range, says Frank Werther, which from Juliet Maximilis Universität. But also relies on high absorption of organic dyes, which means that it can gather a lot of light energy using thin layer like natural light harvesting systems. And in front of you, you see a related video entitled Sun Valley Solar Systems. Shows how solar batteries could save you money, by way of ABC 15 Phoenix, Arizona. And that will be available upon publishing of this article. To work the system, developers call a light harvesting antenna takes 4 different dies and folds them that they are stacked closely to each other. Because they are so neatly arranged, they are able to move energy around quickly and efficiently. They refer to a system as UPRB. That corresponds with the 4 light wavelengths that are absorbed by each one of the folded component: ultraviolet, red, purple, and blue. Taken on their own, those 4 dyes to gather about 1 to 3% of the light energy. But in a new system used together, they are able to convert 38% of the light to useful energy. A study reporting the work panchromatic light harvesting antenna by supramolecular exciton band engineering for heterometric dye foldamer is published by journal Chem. The Independent is the world's most free-thinking news brand, providing global news commentary analysis for the independently minded. The publisher points out that we have grown a huge global readership of independently minded individuals who value our trusted voice and commitment to positive change. Our mission, making change happen, has never been as important as it is today. All right, as per stated by the publisher, not by me. Okay, so that does it for the first article. Let's go on to the second article. And before I read the second article, I would like to let you know this is for review, informational, and educational purposes. It's not to take the credit for the intellectual property of the article. The full credit to the intellectual property of the article goes to the publisher, in which case is phys.org, and this story by ScienceX staff. The headline reads, Engineers produced the first practical titanium-sapphire laser on a chip. And in front of you, you see a graphical representation of said titanium-sapphire laser on a chip. Credit goes to CCO Public Domain. Copyright provided by phys.org. Now to the article. As lasers go, they're made of titanium sapphire. Ti sapphire considered to have an unmatched performance. They are indispensable in many fields, including cutting-edge quantum optics, spectroscopy, and neuroscience. But that performance comes at a steep price. Ti sapphire lasers are big, on the order of cubic feet in volume. They are expensive, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars each, and require other high-powered lasers themselves costing $30,000 each to supply them with enough energy to function. As a result, Ti sapphire lasers have never achieved the broad real-world adoption they deserve until now. In a dramatic leap forward in scale and efficiency and cost, researchers at Stanford University have built a Ti sapphire laser on a chip. The prototype is 4 orders of magnitude smaller than 10,000x, 3 orders less expensive than 1,000x than any Ti sapphire laser ever produced. This is a complete departure from the old model, said Jelena Vukovic, if I pronounced her name right, or I think her name. The Jensen Huang Professor of the Global Leadership, a professor of electrical engineering, and a senior author of the paper introducing the chip-scale Ti sapphire laser published in the journal Nature. Instead of one large and expensive laser, any lab might have thousands of these, or hundreds of these, valuable lasers on a chip. And you can feel it with a green laser pointer. Amazing. Profound benefits. Quote, when you leap from tabletop size making something producible on a chip, such as a low cost, it puts these powerful lasers in reach for a lot of the different important applications, unquote. Said Joshua Yang, a doctoral candidate at Vukovic's, Vukovic's lab, co-first author in the study of Vukovic's nanoscale and quantum photonics lab colleagues, research engineer Casper Van Gass, and postdoctoral scholar Daniel M. Lukin. In technical terms, Ti sapphire lasers are so valuable because they have the largest gained bandwidth, and I have that in quotes there, of any laser crystal, explained Yang. In simple terms, gained bandwidth results to the broader range of colors and lasers that can produce compared to other lasers. It's also ultra fast, Yang says. Pulses of light issue forth every quadrillionth of a second. But Ti sapphire lasers also are hard to come by. Even Vukovic's lab, which was cutting-edge quantum optics experiment, only has a few of these prized lasers to share. The new Ti sapphire laser fits on a chip that is measured in a square millimeters. If the research can mass produce them on wafers, potentially thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of Ti sapphire lasers could be squeezed on a disc that's fit in the palm of the human hand. A chip is light. It's portable. It's expensive. It is inexpensive, that is. Sorry, correction. It is inexpensive and it is efficient. There is no moving parts. And it can be mass-produced, Yang said. What's not to like? This democratizes the Ti sapphire lasers, unquote. How it's done. To fashion a new laser, researchers began with a bulk layer of titanium sapphire on a platform like silicon dioxide or SiO2, writing atop true sapphire crystal. They then grind, etch, and polish a Ti sapphire in an extremely thin layer, just as a few nanometers thick, into a thin layer. They then pattern a swirling vortex of teeny ridges. These ridges are like fiber optic cables guiding light around and around, building in intensity. In fact, the pattern is known as a waveguide. Mathematically speaking, intensity is power divided by area. If you maintain the same power in a large-scale laser, but reduce the area in which it's concentrated, the intensity goes through the roof, Yang says. Quote, the small scale of the laser actually helps it make it more efficient, unquote. The remaining piece of the puzzle is a microscale heater that warms the light traveling, sorry, it looked like an N, warms the light traveling through the waveguides, allowing Vukovic's team to change the wavelength of the emitted light in tune of color of the light anywhere in between 700 and 1000 nanometers in the red to infrared. Spotlight on applications. Vukovic Yang, and his colleagues are excited about the range of fields that such a laser might impact in quantum physics. The new laser provides an inexpensive and practical solution that could dramatically scale down the state-of-the-art quantum computers. In neuroscience, the researchers can foresee immediate applications of optogenetics, a field that allows scientists to control neurons with a light guided inside the brain by a relatively bulky optical fiber. Somewhat of a tongue twister there. Small-scale lasers, they say, can be integrated into more compact probes, opening up new experimental avenues. In ophthalmology, it might find new uses of the Nobel Prize-winning chirped pulse amplification, laser surgery, or other inexpensive, more compact optical coherence tomography techniques using to assess retinal health. Next up, the team is working on protecting the chip scale Ti-sapphire laser on ways to mass produce them, thousands at a time, on wafers. Yang will earn his doctorate this summer based on the research and is working to bring the technology to market. Quote, we could put thousands of lasers on a 4-inch wafer, Yang says. Quote, that's when the cost per laser starts to become almost zero. That's pretty exciting. Well, I can understand that. Exciting, unquote. And I definitely can understand that because the profit margin would pretty much be through the roof. I mean, it wouldn't be zero, but it'd be close to zero. So anyway, it'd be pretty amazing. More information, Jelena Vukovic, Titanium-sapphire on insulator, integrated lasers, and amplifiers. Nature 2024, DOI 10.10.038/S41586-024-07457-2. www.nature.com/articles/S41586-024-07457-2, which is the same thing for DOI. And this is provided by Stanford University, which you probably have heard of it. And the publisher would like to mention that this story was originally published by phys.org. Subscribe to our newsletter for the latest sci-tech news updates. And that will do it for a second article. Let's go to our third article. Oops. That's annoying how that it adds sort of way on the top there, but yeah. Wish I could kind of like move up. But anyway. Yeah, so let's go to the third article. And before I read it, I would like to let you know this is for review, informational, and educational purposes. It's not to take the credit for the intellectual property of the article. The full credit to the intellectual property of the article goes to the publisher, which in this case is phys.org, and the story by Andrea Fink. Headline reads, Parabolic flight with exoskeleton. Researchers test fine motor skills and weightlessness. Excuse me. Quite fascinating. And in front of you see a picture of what they're referring to. You can see in the background she looks like she's connected to some like chair or something, almost like a wheelchair or some sort of whatever. And some device here, and you can see in the background it says Air 0G, etc. So caption reads, credit Deutsche I'm not even sure how to pronounce this. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. I can read this. I'm not that great with German, but I can try. Credit Deutsches Forschungsjugendamt für Künstliche Intelligenzen GmbH DFKL. I know I kind of butchered that, but copyright provided by phys.org. So that was quite the long word. Okay, anyway. Let's go back to the article itself. Now to the article. Fine motor tasks under space conditions are particularly challenging and must first be trained on Earth. Scientists from the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence, or DFKI, and University of Duisburg-Essen, UDE, are investigating whether a robotic exoskeleton that can simulate weightlessness is suitable for astronomical training. The team had an opportunity to participate in the 42nd DLR Parabolic flight campaign in Bordeaux, France, to compare the effects of simulated weightlessness with those of real weightlessness. During space missions, astronauts are often faced with fine motor tasks such as performing repairs or experiments that are made more difficult by weightlessness of space. Targeted training of these skills are particularly important, but not only to increase the efficiency of missions, but also to ensure the safety of the astronauts. Until now, such missions could only be practiced on Earth during parabolic flights or on spacesuits underwater. Innovative space training with exoskeleton. Scientists at DFKI Robotics Innovation Center Bremen and the Department of Medical Engineering Systems at the University of Duisburg-Essen, or UDE, are working on an alternative and more cost-effective training method. And the NoGravX project, they have developed an innovative approach to simulate microgravity with the help of robotic exoskeleton. The technology is able to detect and compensate for the weight of the person's arms, making them feel weightless or as heavy as on the moon, for example. The researchers are currently investigating the effects of simulated weightlessness on human body compared to real weightlessness on Gravimoco project. By participating in the 42nd DLR Parabolic flight campaign from May 27 to June 6, 2024 in Bordeaux, France, they have reached an important milestone in the project, which is, of course, already happened because, of course, now it's a month later. During the parabolic flight, special ascent and descent maneuvers are used to create weightlessness 31 times for about 22 seconds each. This time is available to the scientific teams for experiments. Instead of the planned 3 flights over 3 days, Nova Space's Airbus A3100G took off 4 times because the first flight had to be aborted aborted after only 16 parabolas due to technical problems. The remaining parabolas were completed on the second day. Experiment setup and execution. The exoskeleton experiment was one of the 11 selected experiments on board the aircraft and involved the participation of 6 test subjects. However, in order to compensate for the absence of some subjects, more people had to be prepared for the mission in advance. The test subject's task was to use the index finger of their right arm to hit the center of the target slide in the touchscreen of weightlessness. The arm was covered by a cape to avoid visual movement corrections. During the experiment, the subject's arm muscle activity, brain activity, and heart rate, the variability as well as movement trajectories were recorded. Half of the test subjects had already practiced this task in a laboratory with an active exoskeleton and simulated weightlessness, while others are untrained or only familiar with this test setup. In contrast, the terrestrial test passive systems were used for the parabolic flights. 2 identical test setups allowed the simultaneous participations of 2 subjects per flight. A backup person equipped with sensors was also available to step in if the subjects felt uncomfortable and otherwise act as an operator and supporter. The experiments went largely according to plan, with only 1 subject having to be replaced due to nausea. At the end of the 10-day campaign, researchers were very pleased with the results. Project leader Professor Dr. Elsa Kirchner at the University of Duisburg-Essen, or DFKI, said, quote, "We did a great job on the first parabolic flight campaign and collected all the data we planned to. Despite the effort and lack of sleep, the team worked extremely well together. Now it's time to analyze the very extensive data." So that was quite the teamwork if they worked that hard. So pretty much, if I was the program director, and even if they didn't get the full results that they wanted, I would say they earned it, especially because they were working that hard. So yeah. Data analysis and potential applications. By analyzing the data, the researchers hope to determine whether training with the exoskeleton and simulated weightlessness can enable the transfer of learned skills to real weightlessness and improve astronauts' abilities. This could help prepare astronauts for the challenges of future space missions and optimize the performance in the extreme conditions of space. In addition to space travel, terrestrial applications such as rehabilitation can also benefit from this technology. The exoskeleton used to further developed in the GravX and GraviMoco projects was originally developed at DFKI for rehabilitation therapy. Thanks to the possibility of individual weight compensation, the system can provide even more personalized support for physically disabled people, for example, after a stroke. Provided by Deutsches Forschungszentrum für Künstliche Intelligence GmbH DFKI. So I'm not exactly sure if I've pronounced these words correctly, German words. I'm not that great with German. I studied like 1 year in high school, so I didn't study in college, so yeah. Anyway, it's like anything else. What people can expect out of you is that you do your best effort each time. Anyway, with that said, the publisher would like to mention to you that this story was originally published on phys.org. Subscribe to their newsletter for the latest, or as it says here, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest sci-tech news updates. Excuse me. That will do it for the third article. And before I finish the article review, I would like to thank you for watching this article review, as you could be doing anything else. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment below. Just make sure it's something that's appropriate. No threatening language that is of physical violence. No spam, no advertisements, please. Okay. But if you have praise or you have constructive criticism you'd like to offer, that's fine. Just no advertisements. Okay. No. I can do your thumbnails, or I can redo your video, or whatever link. It's just to give comments of the video, but just make sure it's constructive, okay? So I would like to thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. You could be doing anything else, so I greatly appreciate it. As this video did offer value to you, because it is valuable to be up to date with the news, what I'd like you to do is please click the subscribe button on the video. That way I'll be pushing the algorithm. Please click like, sorry, not subscribe, sorry. Please click like button on the video. That way you'll be pushing the algorithm. More people will be able to view it and enjoy it. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. That way you'll have access to all the content on my video. Okay? Also, if you haven't already, please click the like. Not the like. Excuse me. Please click the bell button. Sorry, I'm a little bit mixed up here. Please click the bell button. That way you'll be notified of all my future videos as they come out, so you won't miss them or you won't be behind the times. So I'd like to wish you a great day wherever you are in the world. Take care.